Hi, this is the African American Atheist, and I want to quickly continue our discussion on homosexuality based on some quick questions and some quick feedback I received. So the question that I received is actually a common one, and here it goes. Basically, the question is framed as, to paraphrase, why can't homosexuals choose to remain abstinent? Many females in our culture choose abstinence all the time, so why can't they just remain abstinent? Okay, so that's the basic framework of the question. It may sound silly on the surface, but it's actually a common question, and it's actually kind of sad, that people feel that way. Homosexual or heterosexual, it doesn't matter, but how could you feel that way and frame that sort of question? But I feel it's kind of a loaded question. So basically, the notion that one has the ability to make the choice to not engage in homosexual activity if they are a homosexual is a tricky one, but ultimately I think it's really the crux of the entire issue that no one wants to talk about, right? If it's at minimum already established that homosexuality is a natural part of the human experience, meaning the incidences of it are expected and its mechanisms are already in place in our DNA and genetic code, if we start with that foundation of data that it's at least possible for someone to be born with a tendency towards homosexuality, then, I feel it's wholly cruel, and someone would argue offensive, to suggest that one of those individuals should not engage in an act that they were, for lack of a better term, destined to have a tendency toward due to their makeup, which is outside of their control. This is almost like condemning a person to a sexless, unfulfilled life, which is the total opposite of the intent of the human experience. I use that word intent loosely, so don't get hung up on that, but it's the total opposite of the human experience, since our sex drive, stemming from our inherent drive to procreate, is a major component of our experience as social creatures. But also, one could also say that the comparison to an abstinent female is just so way off base and not accurate. Primarily because an abstinent female, or anyone who's abstinent for that matter, still has full control and at any moment can choose to not be abstinent. They're simply exercising a personal restraint, which one could argue is unnatural as well, but that's another topic. But more importantly, there is no negative social pressure, no negative societal experience placed upon that abstinent individual. The abstinent individual is not faced with the condemnation of a sexless, unfulfilled life where they cannot act on the desires that they are predestined to have due to their makeup. Nor are they burdened with the, religious, nonsensical beliefs that they will burn in hell or be distanced from salvation, whatever that means, purely by acting on their inherent desires. So, purely as a human being, I know this channel is titled as the African American Atheist, and I identify as an atheist, but, ultimately, we can get away from those labels. But, so purely as a human being, whether religious or an atheist, whether homosexuality or homosexual or heterosexual, anyone should be able to imagine how torturous that must be. To have the torment in knowing that you have desires for relationships and sexual experiences that came natural to you if you were born that way, yet you cannot ever act on it due to negative societal and social pressures and negative expectations, and in some cases the religious fear of burning in hell for eternity. To expect that of someone is, purely from a human standpoint, is immoral on so many levels and borderline inhumane. And that's really one of the things I always try to talk about, that a lot of the religious concepts, no one ever really calls them out, but they're actually immoral if you really think about them. But I'll save that discussion for another video. But it's sad that such is the state of our society, and I honestly, blame religion for a huge chunk of it. But we're going to delve into those details in later videos. I'm going to leave no stone unturned, and we're going to get into the nitty-gritty concepts of why I feel that a lot of religious practices, religious beliefs, even unbeknownst to the religious follower. A lot of those things are so immoral, so insane, when you really spell them out and read them on paper, that you can't believe that, people really take these things seriously and incorporate them into their lifestyle. So again, this is the African American Atheist. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.